Good morning, everybody. This is Travis Witherspoon from Carter Cow Capital, helping you fight for your financial freedom throughout the forex market. This is another episode of Trade with Travis. This is a Friday episode, so we're going to end up being very quick when it comes down to everything that we're doing because we actually in a trading pair, and I want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to be able to at least see what we end up doing. We called this out yesterday, um, and it looks like it's getting close to a point to it may end up close. Well, I've already done took profit on some of it, trying to get back into the rest of it and try to get the rest of it right now. But let's go ahead and go through the disclaimer, and then after that, we'll get into it. Not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or to sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education, and from the education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. Understand that forex trading involves risk, or just trading in general involves risk. Uh, that's a risk to be able to make money, also risk to be able to lose money. So please keep that in mind and understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, it's not promised that you can end up making money today. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the charts. Remember, like always, if you're interested in being able to learn a little bit more about what we end up doing, just go to this link right here. Just go ahead and you could possibly fill out the information and be able to learn what we end up doing from everyday basis. Um, but I want to talk about US 30 real quick. We're going to jump right into it because the market is already making its move. Uh, so remember, we ended up talking about these pairs last night, and I was like, yesterday, and I was like, okay, well, we have an opportunity to be able to work within this overall space and use that to our advantage because we've seen that it was showing a high volume node, and all we have to do is just finish out the move when it came down to that and being able to sell it if it broke to the downside. I said that I wasn't necessarily interested in being able to buy unless it ended up breaking out of this area and really starting to push up because there was more of a block inside of that area when it came down to overall trading. Plus, the market is a little bit overbought. So essentially what I ended up doing was that I ended up placing in a stop. I ended up placing in a sell stop order at 83. I mean at 33,450, and then after that I ended up doing it at 33,440. Hold on, let's see. I make sure I end up saying that right price. Oh, 33,754. The first time I ended up doing it, I actually ended up getting caught based off of this move right here. And the one thing that I want to make sure that I end up telling everybody when we end up talking about this strategy is that you have to check and see how many times it actually ends up tapping because I mean, typically if it only taps the second time that it is going to end up being a natural support because people look at consolidation and think of the simple rule buy support sell at resistance everywhere else does not matter, and that's very much the truth. Um, the other portion about that is that um, once it does break, it is going to end up giving you a strong move to the downside. So you just have to be patient and cognizant when it comes down to that move. So what happened was that it actually ended up popping again, ended up placing us inside of the trade, and then after that pushed right up. And I'm glad I didn't see this morning because I probably would have took a loss on that as well. But it literally fell down and placed us into profit. Um, I ended up basically making back some of the money that I ended up losing yesterday when the trade ended up hitting take profit one at 33,750, and currently right now we're going after the second trade at 33,640. But I'm going to be a little bit more judicious about the one going to 640 because I can see that the market is starting to consolidate a little bit, and because it is early, doesn't necessarily mean that the market is going to end up completing this move right now. It can mean that it could complete it a little bit later and we could possibly be able to double dip. I've seen that the market started to make a little bit of a U-turn, and I end up getting in at 33,718. Currently, the market's at 33,725, and if it keeps on popping up, I'm going to go ahead and just bite the bullet on a small little loss and then try to see if I can catch it on the counter trend line break to be able to get back in. The only way we can be able to kind of truly understand where that actually is by taking a look at the 5 minute, at least for right now, and kind of seeing what's going on. It has failed as low as 33,709. And typically, when you look at a move like this, especially off a 15 minute, that would kind of represent a counter trend line break. But I am kind of seeing a little bit of consolidation as well. So if the buyers are holding pack off of this one, I will take a small loss, and then after that, I'll just wait for a counter trend line break to be able to get back in. If I don't catch the move, then I'm totally fine with being able to make $4,500 this morning based off of this movement to be able to go back from there. I will not end this day off on a bad loss. I will not end this day based off of doing stupid moves or anything else like that. We ended up placing in our order yesterday. Got us into a trade last night. We fell asleep. We wasn't necessarily looking at it when it ended up placing in that trade. That's exactly how it's supposed to be when you know exactly where the market is going to end up falling down at. The only thing that you have to do is give yourself a good enough stop loss, kind of like what ended up happening right here, because we were down for a little bit, and then after that, the market ended up making its move. So currently, right now, take profit is at 33,640, which is the last trade. When it comes down to this move, I track profit points is at 33,670. So all I have to do is get up to 670. If it does that, then after that we'll be out on this trade. But if it pops above this counter trend line break, on which I'm getting a strong wick right now when it comes down to that, if if the buyers end up pushing this back up, I just go ahead and take the solo loss and I'll be done for today and I'll just move on when it comes down to that. But for the people that end up making money off of that first trade and everything else that we talked about yesterday, congratulations. That was the whole reason why we ended up doing it. So everybody can be able to make a little bit of cash off of this move. Obviously, as we end up taking a look at this one, I don't like that wick. I'm gonna go ahead and exit off. I'm glad I exited off real quick because it's starting to pop up a little bit more. Uh, and we'll just move on from there. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with having a win and not necessarily getting all of what you wanted, but getting 60 to 75, or sometimes in this case, right around 60 to 75% of what we wanted. Um, and then after that, we can see we can be able to get back in a little bit later on. There's no problem in being able to do that, but sometimes when you got sometimes it's very important just to be able to take profit. Sometimes you don't want to give up. You don't want to give up money just because you're trying to be greedy and try to get all of your position. If you notice this market from a 5 minute perspective, it just ran into another high volume node. Remember, high volume nodes means consolidation. Consolidation means that we need to get out of the pair, take our profit, and then kind of wait to see what happens inside of this small little area currently at this particular point in time. Um, if it rejects off of this point, then just like what we do with everything else, we're just placing an order and be ready to get it once it ends up breaking to the downside. If it doesn't, then there's nothing else that we can be able to do about that. But there we go. That's US 30. We'll come back to this one. There's no trade for anybody else that's looking at being able to get in right now. If you got it, if you talked with us yesterday, you had the pending order trade in yesterday. Hopefully you end up making money off of it. If you did, I would say go ahead and exit out for the trade right now, and we'll just kind of play it by ear from there. I'm not looking. I wouldn't look at selling at the resistance right now. Um, the market has fell down when it comes down to points. It is Friday, so I wouldn't necessarily be too keen on being able to jump in yet. But there we go. That's what we're looking at when it comes down to that. Happy about that move. Let's take a look at what's happening. Matter of fact, I haven't invited everybody. Let's make sure we end up inviting everybody real quick. But yeah, the market ended up making a double bottom. We see that people are starting to push it back up. I'm glad I got out of the trade when I got out of it, because my second stop loss when I ended up placing in this first little quick order was at 750. Would have took me out, and quite frankly, for the amount of points that I was placing in on that order, it wouldn't have made sense to take a quick loss like that. Probably would have been easily about $900. Um, but end up making I ended up making 4,100 off the first move, $576 off the second move. So happy about that one. Now let's take a look at what ended up happening off of this one. We ended up talking about this order as well. Now, this one was the order that I ended up saying I wasn't necessarily too sure about for us being able to get in, because if you look at the blocks and you look at the order where they actually have it, wasn't necessarily the greatest type of look just based off of that. Um, we got very tight free range areas that we could possibly be able to get into. Now we have this big move from the downside when the market ended up going into consolidation and pushing back up into this consolidation that we end up having in early August. But currently, right now, if we look at what our position was, there was a take profit at 1330. We end up hitting our trap profit points when it came down to that, and end up making profit off of that move. Um, There's another order that we was looking at being able to get into where we could get out at 13,186. I will not do anything with that order until the market ends up breaking below 13,300. If that happens, then after that, I'll be interested in being able to get into that trade. But this is kind of the same as I end up talking about what happened with US 30. US 30 is starting to pop up a little bit just before the 8 o'clock bell. So you want to see how the market kind of reacts. We can see that same type of consolidation based off the 5 minute. This one just gave a little bit higher of a W. It didn't make a double bottom, but it has made a higher low. And because it has made a higher low, then what we end up doing from here as a continuation of a trade, we'll take a look at a counter trend line break. If the counter trend line break breaks to the downside, then after that, we have an opportunity to be able to take a look at that when it comes down to that trade. So once per bar, this will be entry, NOS 100, sell. So I'll be looking for that. Probably need to do the same thing for US 30, but US 30 has not given a fractal, it showed consolidation. So I'm going to place it right here and see how that kind of reacts. Wouldn't be surprised that it possibly may end up popping up to 780, maybe back up to the point of control. If the market is truly bearish, then we'll truly see a breakout to the downside when it comes down to that. So crossing down once per bar, this would be entry US 30 sale. Now this is a continuation trade, and because it is a continuation trade, you lower your lot size. I'm not trying to go out there as much as we was trying to do before. There's no reason to give up money, but we could do and try to get in on a little bit of that move. Now let's go ahead and get into German 40. German 40. I remember saying this last Monday. I said the German 40 has the best opportunity to be able to make money. To be able to make money to the downside based off of the pop that we had, or based off of the movement that we had. I'm sorry, to the upside based off of the movement that we end up having. It was a slow and arduous move, but we ended up getting all the way up to 13,940 when it came down to that. Made profit off of this move, and quickly the market fell down back inside of that area. So it made both of these, it made this numbers basically a free range area. Now it has went back into this consolidation, and you look at what its consolidation price has been over the course of the last few days. We're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days where this market has been in this overall consolidation area. Now it ended up breaking to the downside. It placed us in an order right at 612, 13,612. Fell all the way down, but did not put us in the profit when it came down to that. Basically, when I woke up, it was at break even, in which not necessarily upset about. It just meant that I wish I could have seen it a little bit earlier. But this is the time for us to be able to go ahead and place in orders for when this market does drop towards this overall downside movement. And I think I already have one. I got it at 13,425. No. Oh, 13,425 is the second order that we end up having down here. We end up having another order at 13,535 that never got triggered. Okay, so never mind. It was 13,607. We got triggered in at 13,607. Then after that, it fell down. For some reason, it did hit my trap profit points, which sucks. But hold on, did I make money off of that? No, I didn't. Um, you did hit the trap profit point, but got very close to being able to hit it from there. Now we can see that the market is starting to consolidate a little bit from this area. Um, we can see that we have three supports. You can see that we end up having three resistances. This is the point where the consolidation will end up being right here. So we have another order that we can be able to place in. Let's go ahead and be able to do that now. Because I do think that this market is ultimately going to end up falling off. You don't have that many consecutive days of movement where the market has been in a range to where you don't see a breakout end up happening at some point in time. So with that being said, this puts me into a position of being able to say, okay, well, I'm interested in being able to take a trade. What is the most likely outcome of the trade? The most likely outcome of the trade is that the market is moving to the downside. Where could it potentially go? It could potentially go back inside of this large consolidation scale right here when it comes down to that movement. We've already broken past the high volume node, which was 629. Currently, market pricing right now is at 599. So I'm gonna say if it breaks below this overall area, I'm gonna target not a great target position. We're back in consolidation again. Yeesh. Um, let's see. I don't know if I would be interested in being able to take that sale. The reason why I don't know if I'd be interested in being able to take that sale is because it goes back to another rule that I've been I've said before. When you leave one high volume node, and the next thing you find is the next high volume node, and you look at where you are when it comes down to pricing. If it falls, all it's going to do is fall back inside of a consolidation spot. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing if you catch it on the first move as it's waving to the downside and basically building that support again. Um, but if you miss, then that means that this market could pop up and basically just be able to take you out. That was kind of the same reason why I didn't want to take an order on Nas 100. Um, it was a reason why I didn't want to take an order on Nas 100 because of that small little take profit position that you possibly could be able to take. It was not more than a scalping move. Uh, what's going on, Peter? Hi, what about Nas 100? Lily just got done talking about it, but we'll talk about it in a second. I'll go back and review it in a second. Just give me one quick second. I'm gonna see what we can be able to do for an order on Nas 100, which I don't think there's really going to end up being a great order to take. Um, Matter of fact, I'm going to say there is no order to be able to take on Nas 100 because as it falls back inside of a block. Um, so I'm gonna keep that same thought process for the next trade. I got it at 13,425. 13,425 will end up being that next consolidation area. Actually needs to be a little bit lower. Probably needs to be like 420, um, or maybe even 415 to be safe. Um, so it'll be 13,415. And then after that, what will be triggering is trying to get into um, let's use all of the information to our advantage. I'll be looking at getting that at 290, and at the latest, it'll probably end up being 245. Forex, do you use point and figure ever? No, I've heard about it. I've heard about a lot of things when it comes down to trading, just because of how long I've been trading. But um, I don't use point and figure all that much. At this particular point, what I end up doing is that I actually end up using high volume nodes and low volume nodes to be able to trade, especially in the summer months. Um, I think everybody knows that there is a few months where the market is very trendy. Typically, that's October to January. Then after that, you're talking about February and March. The market is kind of slow. Once the market gets into April all the way until about June, the market is in a not another trending type of mode. From there, we are basically in the summer months where the market is going. No, 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 no. I know. Go upstairs, baby. Because I don't want to go upstairs. How about this? Say hey, and then after that, go. Say hey. Dude, you done came down here. You know I'm in a meeting. Say hey. Look, look. Say hey. Mm. Say hey. Mm. Say hey. Mm-mm. Say hey. Mm-mm. All right, then bye. Everybody, give me 1 second. See, weak investments. We do. I do this every day. They jump inside of every meeting that I have. Matter of fact, they are part of pretty much every meeting that I have. So I don't necessarily get too worried about it. I just don't want them to be a distraction, especially for the little bit of time that I end up having. I want to make sure that I can maximize it. Um, German 40. Um, German 40, I think the best move is to kind of be able to wait, even though we'll be giving up a lot of points. I think that the best order will end up being to get in when the market kind of breaks through this block right here. If it does fall, I think that we have a better gap to be able to work through when it comes down to that position. Now, don't get me wrong. If it does fall, I probably might end up making a smaller order to be able to go and try to take that gap. But there's really not. It's really going to struggle in this area to be able to complete it. I would rather not struggle when it comes down to trading. I would rather sit up there and catch my positions and kind of like last night, make $4,500 sleeping very well based off of the position that we end up choosing because we know exactly where it's going to fall. But for right now, yeah, I'm gonna hold off on this one. I'm gonna hold off on that. So let me go ahead and go back to Nas 100. Let's talk about what we ended up doing when it came down to that one. Nas 100. Um, it's been in this large consolidation for 3 days. Kind of go ahead and take it back to the weekly and the daily and kind of get into why I'm saying what I'm saying. Um, One overall, if we're looking at this move and we just take everything away, let me move this text and stuff out the way real quick. Um, Essentially, what I am seeing, just take it for granted, take it like a grain of salt if you're looking at the overall move. I am seeing a king's crown. A king's crown is a strong reversal move to the downside, um, based off of what I'm looking at right here. We got our they don't have king's crown, but I try to make it as much as possible. So we have first move, second move, all the way down here. It broke the A, came back up here and kind of matching up with this left shoulder for it to be. Now you can call that a left shoulder right there as well, but I'm saying that more than likely what we probably might end up seeing is something like that to the downside. Now that's long term. Short term, while we're going through this trading, the one thing that I want to make sure that we end up doing is basically maximizing every low volume node that we can be able to take advantage of, and that's exactly what's been happening. We end up having um, from a daily perspective, we can see that the market is in the sell zone. From the weekly perspective, we can see that the market is in the sell zone. There is a counter trend line break that's about to happen. I do believe that there's a explosive move to the downside that's about to happen in the near future. Um, Go based off of this counter trend line break. It hasn't broke yet, but it's getting very close to being able to break. So now that puts us into taking a look at what's happening based off of the hour and based off of the 15 minute. We can see that overall the market does the same thing, especially in the summer months, over and over and over again. It's going to give you a free range area, and then after that, let me take out this volume numbers. It's going to end up giving you a free range area, or basically a vortex spot, and then after that, it's going to end up showing up into consolidation. Then after that, it'll break out and give you a vortex spot, and then consolidation again. Essentially, what's happening right now is we're leaving a 3 day consolidation, and we're starting to move into another low volume node pocket. Now, that low volume node pocket will not truly be formed until it ends up breaking below 13,300. So while the market is kind of moving into this overall gap in space, all I'm trying to do is little scalping sell opportunities as the market falls down. So the best trade will end up being at 13,300 because once it breaks 13,300, now we have this larger low volume node or unfair market prices that will end up being right here. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and place in this order right now with everyone. And hopefully, when y'all end up coming back, the next time that everybody comes back, you'll end up saying, "Hey, we were right to be able to take that trade when it comes down to that movement." Um, that order would end up being at 13,300. The stop loss on that one, I would probably go above this point of control before. A matter of fact, let's do. We want to be safe. We can go. I'm going to go above this point of control that was on August 11th. So it'll be 13,300 with a stop loss of 13,420 with a take profit of 13,050. 13,050. So I'm gonna pull this up. I'm gonna place this on the chart, This trade will probably not happen. Um, It'll probably not happen today. It may not even happen on Monday. But if it does happen, and if it is in a position where we're ready to go, then then I already have the trade in, and I don't have to worry about having to fight everybody when it comes down to that position. So that is the order that I would look at when it comes down to Nas 100. Peter, hopefully it ends up helping you out when it comes down to that move. I would not look at being able to take any big trades today because the move has already done happen. But if it does fall down into that spot and it does break below 13,300, that's the move. That's the big move to be able to take. That's a risk reward of 1 or 2. If you like doing 100 points, if you only do 100 points, then it ended up being a 1 to 2.5, I believe. I'm going to be a little bit more safe and go 120, just so I can give it a little bit of room, and then after that, truly be able to break. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if we end up building up on another consolidation before this market ends up breaking out on that point. If it does, the first trade may end up being a quick trade. The second trade may end up being the one that actually makes the move. So just keep that in mind. But I'm go ahead and place in this order real quick before I forget. Um, and if y'all want to, y'all can go ahead and do the same thing as well. On my if y'all do y'all trading through y'all terminal, just to kind of answer that question real quick or kind of talk about that. When you do your trading through your terminal, you can go to position size calculator. And once you end up going to position size calculator, you can go ahead and place in your short and do the pending order just like that. Um, this will automatically calculate everything that you want and the certain percentage of what you'll do for your account and everything else like that for it being able to go in. So 13,300. We end up taking a look at stop loss. Stop loss ended up being at 13,420. And then after that, take profit to be at 13,050. Now, if you notice, when you end up placing in that information, it tells you what your risk percentage and everything else that you end up doing. Typically, when you end up taking a vortex trade, anything else like that, the stop loss would end up being above, I'm going to say above 5 to 6% when it comes down to that of the account. The reason why I say 5 to 6% is because this is really the only area where you're going to get an explosive trade movement when it comes down to that. The only thing I don't like about this indicator is that if the market is moving fast, sometimes that can end up being, geez, come on. Okay, there we go. You're getting that placing in that trade. So risk to be 640, take profit, end up being 4,200. Uh, Press that button, everything's in. We're good to go when it comes down to that. Um, Let's see. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch that back over to my do that one, and I gotta place it inside of my live account real quick. So let me go ahead and place it inside of my live account. Okay. Okay. All right. So now you're welcome. Hopefully everybody ends up making money off of that position. You got to be able to do something. Earlier this morning, we ended up making a little bit based off of that first drop, but I don't think there's anything else left aside from a counter if it ends up basically U-turning from there. I have 13,282 support, 12, 267 break. 282, 13,282, 13,282, 13,282, 13,282. Yeah, that was from actually that was the order from last week. I still have that order in as well. I have it at 278 though. 13,278, 13,329. Take profit 13,200. So both of those orders will end up getting triggered in. Um, just waiting for those positions to be able to hit. Once they hit, then obviously we'll let them roll. But obviously, once you end up placing them in as a buy and sell stop, unless you end up putting that expire time, then they'll keep on making that. They'll keep on placing in that position. So I'm fine with that. I I, I I've gotten to the point to where I like buy and sell stops way more than I like market orders. One, I'm not in front of the computer all the time, so um, there's really no reason to sit up there and try to keep on pressing on the button. And two, I already know exactly where I want to get in, so why sit up there and fake it like I'm going to be in front of the computer to actually get the number that I want? from a market standpoint. You're mindful of this place in the trade, have a high enough stop loss, and then after that, just let it ride from there. Look out here and go to the go ahead and go to the starter pack. Euro United States dollar, and then after that, I take a look at if any of y'all have a pair that y'all want to take a look at. We can take a look at that real quick, and then after that, I call it a day. Uh, let's see, Euro United States dollar from a weekly perspective. Euro's been very weak. Obviously, I think everybody kind of knows that. Um, Currently, right now, I got a lot of stuff. Hold on. Currently, right now, we can see that the market is going through a downtrend. It's basically going back to parity once again. We can see that overall. Let me pull it up on my smart trader. As my oldest son walks down the steps. I thought I did something on this one weekly. Oh, I did. Okay. So as we're looking at this market has just been a large channel to the downside since then. They end up hitting the top of it at 120 and has been falling to the downside from there ever since. There is a take.
Can I watch a tornado?
There's a take profit position. Come here, say hey to everybody. Jeez, son, don't drop my phone. Say hey.
Hey.
Say hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
There we go.
I just gonna see a tornado.
Go. In the living room.
phone is starting.
Yeah, go in the living room. Market end up retracing to the 382, which was at 107. There's a take profit position that's expected to be hit on this one from a sub fib perspective at what just happened? 33,370, 33,370. When did I? Hold on. I got an order that just got placed in on Nas 100. Where is it? I didn't say 370. Oh, okay. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry, everybody. Just give me one quick second. I'm glad I caught that. Yeah, I'm glad I caught that. Okay. Okay. But I was talking about Euro United States dollar. Market could fall all the way down to 96, 50 when it comes down to that movement. We're seeing this large block of consolidation once again. Summer months, keep that in mind. Market is broken to the downside when it comes down to that movement. Take a look at it from a daily perspective. You can see that there's a breakout. Remember, typically when there's a breakout, there will end up being a retest. I don't know if we are looking at the retest as of yet. The retest in my mind has not happened yet. There has been consolidation that has broken, but I don't think that's a true retest as of yet. So we may end up seeing the market start to pop up before going back down. Um, that's a retest, right? Market popped up and then after that rejected. We haven't seen that same type of U and then come back down. For the people that are looking at being able to scalp this move, if you're interested in being able to scalp, we could say take profit. The take profit is already done being hit. It's really nothing to do. Really nothing to do on Euro United States dollar. I wouldn't do anything with it yet. Yeah, I wouldn't do anything with Euro United States dollar. Let my automation system figure that mess out, and I just go throughout my day when it comes down to that. That's it for me. Any other pairs that anybody are interested in? I didn't go through the big three. Let me go through the big three real quick. I'm going to go very quickly on that. But while I'm talking about that, if there's any pairs that anybody want to talk about, we can go ahead and talk about them real quick. Gold, I still wouldn't do anything. For the people that end up getting in at support at 1685, remember I was talking about trying to take it all the way up to 1872, but I also end up saying if there was a counter trend line break, go ahead and take and get out of that overall move, and can be able to go from there. C-week investments, you think it's going to end up going up to 1.009. I could see a case for that, but I won't be putting my money into it. Yeah, there's really no move than what ended up happening earlier yesterday and earlier on Monday when the market actually ended up making its fall. So gold won't do anything with. So Japanese yen and Australian dollars won't do anything with. Let's take a look at what's happening with oil. Oil, from a weekly perspective, oil from a weekly perspective, has been moving down for the last how many weeks is this? Has been moving down for 11 weeks. Remember, typically 7 to 11 weeks means that the market is going to end up pushing up into the buy zone. We could see potentially people starting to look at being able to buy. If that does happen, then that will kind of build out a consolidation block uh, that would definitely make me not look at being able to trade it, which would end up being right here, and kind of go from there. Um, because I don't speak that language, I don't know how to read it. I got to convert it real quick. Give me one quick second. Uh, let's see. Uh, okay. Uh, duh, 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 duh. Okay. Um, but let's see. Once we end up seeing that the market fell down to support, it fell down at 83, 86.31. Um, oil, the Canadian dollar, I probably wouldn't do anything, but I would say if anything, it'll probably be trending more to the upside. It'll take a little bit of time to be able to get there, but it'll probably end up trending up to the upside if that does happen. When it comes down to that movement, go to the daily. We can see that the daily kind of found support right here, but um, there's no true counter trend line break as of yet, and because there's no true counter trend line break as of yet, there's really no move to be able to take when it comes down to this movement. So I'm going to stay away from oil as well. United States dollar index will be the last one. Then after that, I'll go ahead and bid everybody adieu. Do appreciate everybody's time for being able to stay with us. Um, I talked, jeez. United States dollar index, I ended up talking about last week. It was in the channel, kind of like what you end up seeing with Euro United States. It fell down to support. I was saying I'll wait for a counter trend line break to be able to get into, and I did not pull the trigger on this trade. But if you did, congratulations. There have been 3 days of trending movement based off of this morning star that ended up happening. And since then, the market is, first, will end up pushing up to, let's see, market will first push up to probably the support, probably get to the 127 first, and then after that, look at being able to break 13,496 before being able to complete it. So the market is trending bullish. I would say take a look at a 2 hour on the United States dollar pair, see if they're in a buy zone at some point. They will be overbought, but watch for a little bit of a drop. You may end up having an opportunity to be able to get into one of those. Help me look at um, Okay, so I can answer the questions about U.S. CAD and U.S. yen right now without even looking at the charts. Now, Peter, answer this question: Are you in a trade? Courage, are you in a trade? Because I can tell you exactly what you're probably going to see before even taking a look at the chart. Um, U.S. yen, U.S. yen. Let's talk about it real quick. The let's see. To my side, I'm saying a strong buy. No, not yet. Okay, so the reason why I go through the big three is for a very simple reason, and giving away secrets, but I'm totally fine with being able to do that. When you look at the United States dollar index, the United States dollar index is a correlation of all United States dollar pairs. So if the United States dollar index is going bullish as a whole, then that means that you want to be able to look at buying on the United States dollar in general. So when I look at that and I look at oil, Oil has a strong correlation with the Canadian dollar. If you look at the Canadian dollar, I guarantee you that you will see that the market has been trending to the downside on most Canadian dollar pairs and has been slow at this particular point. So United States dollar index is going up, oil is going down. That means that you should be looking at buying opportunities. But because the market is in a consolidation area and has not made a true break yet, I would probably tend to see that the United States dollar will still have strength over U.S. CAD. So I will still look at being able to sell in the right positions. I don't think there'll be a right position today, just because we can see how the market is kind of reverting back. So that means that the move has probably already done happen. Matter of fact, let me test that out and see if I'm right based off of looking at the big three. And then after that, I take a look at U.S. CAD as well. US CAD from weekly perspective, that same channel that we've been looking at, basically done fell into the middle of the channel. The middle of the channel to me is basically consolidation, and because it is consolidation, it does not give me, does not interest me for being able to make a move. Now, when it comes down to movements like this, you're not going to end up seeing Mason. Don't take that phone. Um, what you'll end up seeing is what you typically end up seeing is consolidation. If it's in the middle of the consolidation, it's probably not a good position to be able to take. There goes that movement to the upside that I end up talking about. It probably might end up being a little probably might be a little stagnant when it comes down to that movement, but it fell down to the 618. So that's a very good thing to be able to take a look at. Give me 1 second, everybody. Broke a counter trend line break. I would say it's a buying opportunity there. It definitely is a buying opportunity there, but um, since it's in the middle of the stochastic, you got 77%. I would wait. I would wait probably and try to see if I can be able to kind of wait just a little bit and have the market fall down first. Give me a counter trend line break to be able to get into, and then after that, look at being able to buy it then uh, when it comes down to that movement. Right now, I wouldn't chase it because obviously it's a little bit overbought and it is Friday. So that would be what I would do with U.S. CAD courage. U.S. yen. Uh, Going back to what we ended up saying with gold. Gold is in consolidation. So and it has hit support. So I wouldn't be surprised if the market may end up pushing back up to the upside and then kind of going from there. But overall, we'll see. Let's see. We take a look at what's happening with U.S. yen. Um, if you can if you can convert your comment to English, it'll basically make it a little bit easier for me to be able to understand what you're saying, so I can be able to help you out um, when it comes down to your questions. Um, USN sent an R3 position pushing up. We end up saying that probably United States dollar would end up having control. That's exactly what's going to happen. Uh, the take profit position will be at 142. Currently, right now, the market is at 136. It is obviously bullish. We take a look at it from a daily perspective. We do have that true counter trend line break that has happened. Kind of like what I end up saying with every other one. When you end up having, there goes the outer trend line. Here's your inner trend line. So the inner and outer trend line has been broken to the upside. So that means that the market is bullish. The next move that I will look at being able to do, once again, take a look at the 2 hour. Once the 2 hour gets back into the buy zone and gives you a counter trend line break to be able to get back in, now you have a trade to be able to take. So I'll wait for this movement to be able to happen. I would not chase it. Let the movement come back to you, and then after that, look at being able to make the move to the upside. Okay. So there we go. Done went through all of the big three. Went through most of the U.S. dollar pairs that I would typically trade. Went through U.S. 30. We talked about how we end up making $4,500 this morning off of that movement. U.S. CAD. NAS 100 end up making a few dollars off of that position as well. I think the next biggest trade that we just talked about was at 13,300. So keep that in mind. You got another trade at 13,278. If you have not placed in those orders, I'm gonna say them real quick so everybody can be able to see them. 13,300 will be the first pending sales stop with a stop loss of 13,420, and then after that, take profit of 13,050. Um, the second order would be at 13 I got 13,278. Stop loss of 13,330. Take profit of 13,200. So that is the two pending orders that I have for NOS 100 that are still out there. I just got a bail saying that the market has broken the counter trend line break. And that was from the original order. You may be interested in being able to make a move off of that one, but I don't know. I'm going to let that close and kind of see what happens. DAX, there's no trade to be able to take, at least right now. We're going to fall back inside of another order block to the downside, so I don't like that trade. Euro, United States dollar, there really wasn't anything. US CAD, look to buy when you end up getting into a good position. US yen, look to buy when you get into a good position. Everyone, I do appreciate everyone being able to pop in. If you like what I end up doing, well, that makes it a little bit easier to be able. Okay, US 30. I'm gonna take in. I take an order. It popped. Let's see. I take an order, but it's gonna be smaller than what I did last time. I would rather for it to close. I'd rather for it to close in that position. We got 2 minutes before that closes. This order definitely is not going to be the same amount that I tried to go in before, but I will take the order. All right, just took the order on the sale on US 30. Take profit, it end up being 13,640. Stop loss on this one. I'm gonna go above the swing high. Will be at 13. Or I'm sorry, not 13. 33 778. 33 778. Take profit 33 640. Stop loss 33 778. Entry right now. Entry is right now. I got 730 on my number. You want to be a little bit more patient. I would say wait until the close, but indexes move fast, so sometimes you just got to place in the order and then place a stop loss above the swing high and hope for the best. 33,640. Bam. Entries are placed in. Now, if it falls back to support, matter of fact, I'm going to do this. I'm going to place a trailing stop of I'm going to place in a trailing stop at 25 points. I don't know if this is going to be a true breakout move. I can start to see that buyers are kind of taking it now, and because it is inside of that consolidation, it kind of goes against everything that I typically do. But here we go. Let's see. Yeah, I can see that, but I can see that it's starting to pop back up already. If it breaks above that counter trend line break, I automatically exit. I don't have no remorse for being wrong quick. Let's see, but 33 778. Stop loss is above the swing high. Take profit 33 640. All right, there we go. Everybody, I hope everybody ends up having a great trading week. We'll see everybody again on Sunday, and then after that we'll go from there. Like always, plan your trade your plan. Click on that boost button for me. Help me out when it comes down to that. Anybody interested in being able to learn what we do from a trading perspective each and every day, all I gotta do is go to that link. I contact you personally. Like always, plan your trade your plan. Everyone, y'all have a good one.